Well, welcome everybody to Mac's Tutorials. This is Mac here, and we are working on absolute value inequalities. Okay, so now on these guys, here's the big thing that I really want you to learn. When you have an absolute value of x and it's smaller than something, the way you're going to write it, let's just go smaller than blah. Okay, who cares what the blah is? What you're going to do is you're going to write the x and you're going to write two lesser than signs. And on the right, you're going to write blah. And on the left, you're going to write negative blah. Okay? So that's one thing that you can learn. The other thing is if you have absolute value is greater than blah, what you're going to do is you're going to do this. You're going to write x is greater than blah, like a normal equation. And then you're going to write x is less than a negative blah. So that's kind of the big thing that you have to know to do that. Once you have that locked in, and you're going to lock it in because we're going to do it a few times. Okay, so you're going to have to do a bunch of these, and then once you start doing them, you're going to go, oh, that's the negative blah and the positive blah, and that's the in betweener, and that's the outies, and that's the innies, and you don't know what I'm saying right now because we haven't done any. So let's do some. Okay, so I have an absolute value of x, and it's a less than. Well, if it's a less than, it's going to fix this model. My blah is 5. So I'm going to write an x, and I'm going to go less than like this. And now, there's my blah. There's my negative blah. Guys, it's that simple. You just need to know how to plug it in. And once you do that, I'm just going to call this a negative 5. I don't think I have 10 numbers here. I'm going to call this 5, whether it really is or not. And then my answer is everything in between. Okay? And that would be my graph. Let's go on to number 2. X minus 3 is greater than 4. So now that one looks like that. So what we're going to do is we're going to write x minus 3 is greater than 4. We just write it like a normal problem. But then what we're going to do next is we're going to write the x minus 3, and we're going to make it less than a negative 4. The blah here is the 4. So we change the sign to make it less, and we make it negative. Now we just solve. So I'm going to add 3 on both sides. Okay, and I'm going to get x is greater than 7. And here I'm going to add 3 to both sides. And I'm going to get x is less than negative 1. Now, I don't know, are there 8 here? Well, I guess we're going to find out. Let's do this one first, okay? X is smaller than negative 1. I'm going to write my negative 1 here. I'm going to do a hole because it doesn't say equal, and I'm going to shade that way. Okay, and now I'm going to do this one. X is greater than 7, negative 1, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Hey, they gave me enough. There's going to be a 7 right here. And on this one, I'm going to do, it's going to be greater. It's still whole, and it's greater. Okay, so when you see x is greater than, this is what I mean by outies. It goes left and right and not the middle. And the number 1, that's an innie. Okay, you're going to get your 2 answers, and you're going to do the innies. So a less than is an innie, and a greater than is an outie. Okay, so now let's do this one. So now this is the innie because it's going to be less than. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to write a negative 7, and I'm going to do this, and then I'm going to do this, and I'm going to write a 7. Now I have my negative blah and my positive blah, kind of what I wrote up there, okay, up at the top, all right? Now in the middle, I have to write what's in the middle, x plus 2. So I'm going to write x plus 2. And then if you go to how we solve compound equations, we just subtract 2 from all 3 of these. And when we do that, we're going to get negative 9 is less than or equal to x, which is less than or equal to 5, and that's the answer. They didn't give me enough here, so we're just going to make up numbers even though it doesn't really fit the chart. And so there's going to be a dot there, and I'm going to write 5 there, and I'm going to put a dot there because of the equal sign, and x is everything in between. Okay, let's go on to number 4. So this is a less than, so the 2x is going to be an innie. And I'm going to go like that, and I'm going to write 8, and I'm going to write negative 8. That's the big setup. Then after that, you're just going to solve for this, and you're going to get negative 4 is less than x is less than 4. Negative 4, 3, 2, 1, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, and that's going to be an innie. When x is in between, it's an innie. So I'm going to go whole, because there's no equal sign. And I'm just going to shade the middle. Okay, let's go on to this next one. Now that's an outie. When it's an outie, because it's greater than's are outie, and remember the formula on that, you're just going to write it like it is, and then you're going to write it again, but this time you're going to flip the sign and you're going to make it negative. All right, and that's the formula. So now once, oh my goodness, I really hit the wrong button there. Is there a backspace button on here? It would be lovely if there was. There it is. Backspace. Yay. Or redo or undo or whatever it is. So I'm going to get my pen here, and I'm going to add 5 to both sides. And now I'm going to get x is greater and equal to 7. And then on this, I'm going to add 5 to both sides, and I'm going to get x is less than or equal to 3. So now let's do it. Let's just call this 7, and that's going to be a dot, and it's going to be greater. And then I'm going to go 7, 6, 5, 4. I'm going to call this 3, and that's also going to be a dot. I'm just going to use a thicker line. I'm going to go here. Boom, boom. Okay, and there you go. There's your answer. Let's go to number 6 here. Let me kind of zoom up on this a little bit. Now that's a less than. Is less than an outie or an innie? We got to start memorizing this. That's the innie. So 3x plus 1. And then I'm going to do this, and I'm going to write a 10, and I'm going to write a negative 10. And now I just solve for a compound inequality. Subtract 1 from each, and that's going to give me a negative 11 is less than 3x, which is less than 9. Okay, and so now I'm going to divide everybody by 3. And wow, that's a little bit weird. We haven't really had any, I'm going to run out of room here, but negative 11 thirds is less than x is less than 3. Okay, well, let's just call this one here 3. Okay, now what's a negative 11 thirds? That's negative 11 thirds is the same as a negative 3 and 2 thirds, right? So 3, 2, 1, 0, negative 1, negative 2, negative 3, and 2 thirds. We'll call that right around there. There's a hole, and it's less than, okay? And less than is going to, well, sorry, that's an in-betweener. Because it's going to be greater than. Sorry, I didn't mean to say less than. And it's going to go right in between there. All right? Hope that one was okay. What does the little answer key say? Yeah, look, there it is. I'm right. Okay, there we go. I got 4 more here for us to do. All right, so greater than means that's going to be an outie. On the outies, we write them twice. We write it like normal, and then we write another one. X plus 7, and we switch it. So we switch the sign, and we make it negative. All right, I'm sorry, my 7 kind of looks like a greater than sign, right? Maybe we can make that a little prettier. No, I can't. Okay, so if I subtract 7 from both sides, I apologize for my penmanship. Here we go. X is greater than negative 4. Cool. Next one, minus 7, boom, die. X is less than, add a line, change the sign, negative 10. All right, so I'm going to call this negative 10, and we are going to make that a whole, and X is less than, so that's going to go that way. And then on this one, x is greater than negative 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5. There's going to be a negative 4. And x is greater. And like we said, when you get to greater, it's going to be an outie. Okay, so that's going to be an outie. Let's look at number 8. I can tell right now that this is going to be an innie because it's less than. So I'm going to write my x plus 6, and I'm going to do my less than signs. I'm going to go 9, and I'm going to go negative 9. Now I'm just going to solve it like I know how to do compound equations. Sorry, that one dies. This is going to become a negative 15. That's going to become an x, and that's going to become a 3. Well, I don't have enough numbers on here, so let's just pretend. Okay, and so I'm going to put a 3 there, and I'm going to put a negative 15 there, and we're just going to pretend like all that's accurate. We're going to put holes in here because there's no equal sign on the inequalities, and then we're just going to fill in the middle because it's an innie. 2 more here, okay? Well, now this one, I can't do anything until I get rid of the 2, right? So my first step is to do that. And I'm going to get absolute value of x minus 1 is going to be less than 5. Make that a little prettier. X minus 1, okay? So now I can tell that this is going to be an innie, all right? So because it's an innie, I'm going to write x minus 1, and I'm going to write these guys. And I'm going to do a negative 5 and a positive 5. Now I just add 1 to all 3, and I'm going to get a negative 4 is less than x is less than 6. So I'm just going to call this 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, negative 1, 2, 3, negative 4 is right around there. Okay, and so it's going to be an any. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to make these circles because there's no equal sign. And then we're just going to fill it in. And the very last one, again, I can't do that trick till the absolute value is all by itself. So I'm going to divide each of these by 3, and I'm going to get absolute value of x plus 4 is greater than or equal to 4. Now, if it's greater, that's the outie. The outie one you write twice. X plus 4 is greater than or equal to 4 is the first. And the other one, you write the same thing, but you switch the sign and you make it negative. Now you just solve for both. X is greater than or equal to 0. And this one is going to be x is less than or equal to negative 8. Okay, so now I'll just call this one negative 8 and this 0, even though I don't think that lines up, but that's okay. And there's going to be a dot here, and there's going to be a dot here. And on this one, x is greater than or equal to 0 is going to go that way. And here, x is less than or equal to 8 is going to go that way. And there's my outie. And that, my friends, is how we do inequalities with absolute values. Now, this was worksheet A. This is the first one, okay? I have 2 more, and if you go to the maxtutorials.com, you'll find them and you can get more practice. The more you do these, you're going to see the innies and outies and the setups. You just got to do a few more, okay? So go on to BNC, do a few more. I'll see you there, and you're going to get an A on that test coming up. All right, good job, guys.